Hello, how are you? Welcome back. Today I want to share with you a story that's kind of embarrassing, but happens to all of us. I had a situation happen in which I felt very disappointed. And sure enough, I wake up the next day feeling as though my world was falling apart and everything was going wrong and everything sucked and my efforts we're not doing anything and it wasn't worth it and I was failing. And so one thing made me feel like my life was falling apart and that everything was going wrong and nothing was working. Sounds irrational, but we do it all the time. One of my friends pointed out the 10, I'm just sort of looking at my tablet, the 10 common cognitive disorders. And we all go through them, and I wanted to share them with you today to see how many of them you are guilty of, so that if something occurs to you, you can look at these common cognitive disorders and think, how many of them am I guilty of right now and or have been in the past? Because it's these disorders that allow us to live lives of distortion and lies and really affects our thinking. So being aware of these cognitive disorders can help us to change them and help us to really think, where did we learn that? Because it's not true. But also realize that these are normal feelings, but acknowledging them can help us move forward. So here we go. I'm just going to summarize them for you as quickly as possible. So number one is a mental filter. This is when we focus exclusively on the negative, the most upsetting features of a situation, filtering out all of the positive aspects. So something goes wrong and we only focus on the negative because none of the positive actually mattered. Guilty. Number two, disqualifying the positive. This is when we continuously discount and dismiss the positive experience because we decided that they are unimportant and don't count. Really, why do we wait so much on the negative things and forget all of the amazing positive things? This is where gratitude comes in, right? The example they give here is, well, someone just did that because they're just being nice. And we totally discount the positive and good things that are happening. Tisk tisk. Number three, all or nothing thinking. Well, this sounds as it is. So everything is black or white. These types of thoughts are characterized by terms such as always, never, every. These always happen to me. Oh, I never get that. Everything is seen as good or bad, or success or failure. So, for instance, you get 80% on a test and you feel like you're a failure because what happened to the rest of the 20%? Well, let's start focusing on what is going right instead of what is going wrong, right? Just because one thing went wrong doesn't mean everything is, and I'm totally guilty of that. I totally did it, and it sounds ridiculous. Number four is overgeneralization. We overgeneralize, which means that we often see one single unpleasant incident or event as evidence that everything is awful or negative. Check. Number five, jumping to conclusions. This will often make a negative interpretation or prediction, even though there is no evidence to support this. This type of thinking is often made about how others feel about us. Oh, they must hate us because they did this. Or, you know, you're at a party, you don't like what you're wearing, and you decide everyone is laughing at you, right? It's all going on up here, but then affects how we act to others, which then sometimes becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Number six, magnifying or minimizing. So we magnify or exaggerate the importance of a negative thing and minimize the importance of a positive thing. In depressed individuals, it is often the positive characteristics of other people that are exaggerated and the negatives that are understated. But when you think of yourself, it's the complete opposite. And we are always thinking worst case scenario, catastrophes. Everything is falling apart, the sky is falling. Number seven, personalization. This means that the person engaging in personalization will automatically assume responsibility and blame for negative events, thinking it is all my fault. It is the mother of guilt because it leads to feelings of guilt, shame, and inadequacy. It's not all our fault. So many things we can't control. We are doing the best that we can, and oughts. Thinking that people or things should, ought, must. This one's a scary one because it leads to a lot of disappointment, a lot of judgment, and who's to say that the way we're thinking is the way it should be, but we do it all the time, which leads to anger, frustration, resentment, disappointment, and guilt. Number 9, almost there, emotional reasoning. Emotional reasoning is when we assume feelings reflect fact. So if I am feeling it, oh, that must be the case. I got kind of vibe from that person. They don't like me. Or they did this, oh, everything, nothing matters. The idea here is I feel it, therefore it must be true. And then often, again, this can become a self-fulfilling prophecy because it changes the way we act. And last but not least, number 10, labeling. Labeling is an extreme form of all or nothing thinking and overgeneralization. Rather than describing a specific behavior, an individual instead assigns a negative and highly emotive label to themselves and others that leaves no room for change. It's a little scary, the things that we think of and allow one little thing to really take over our lives. So I hope you enjoyed the 10 common cognitive disorders as much as I did, and now being aware of them will help you to acknowledge and realize when you are engaging in them and stop and change. Because heck, we're all guilty of it. I was the other day and it didn't feel so great. So here we go. Good luck. I love you so much. Thank you for watching, and you are normal. We all experience positive and negative feelings and thoughts. You just have to decide which ones you like experiencing more. I love you. Bye.